Everybody, Jason here from the Children's Museum of Houston, the ASTEAM Programs Manager, this time talking about powder testing in our ongoing forensic science unit. It might seem weird that we're going to do powder testing, but what's really going on is chemistry. We're looking for chemical reactions. You would be surprised about how many different powders and soils and fibers and whatnot are left at crime scenes. And there are chemists who will take every single piece of that evidence and test it to see if they can make a match to a person based on some circumstantial evidence of hobbies or places or things they might do or visit. Bear with us, it's actually a huge part of forensic science. Now what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be testing 4 different powders. We've named the powders for you, we know what they are. What we want to do is see how they react to certain things. Now, as a forensic scientist, you want to make good notes. And we have a sheet here for you that will allow you to make those good notes. This is what the sheet looks like. It's called the powder evidence sheet. Now our 4 powders in number are baking soda, cornstarch, chalk, and baby powder. First thing we want to do is just write down what it looks like. Is it bumpy? Is it finely grained? Is it smooth looking? Things like that. Next, go ahead and touch it. We want to look at the texture of it. How does it feel? Then smell it. Can you describe the smell to us? These things are as important as the chemical reactions that are going to occur. Now, if you look on the bottom here, we have a different table. Again, baking soda, cornstarch, chalk, and baby powder. But this time we're like, what's the reaction to vinegar? What's the reaction to iodine? What's the reaction to cabbage juice? These are the 3 things that we're going to test. Now, vinegar is an acid. And we know when acids and bases mix, interesting things happen. Iodine is actually medicine that can be used for cuts to help clean out and disinfect a cut. Iodine is also a way in which we can test if something has starch in it. You'll see what happens in a moment. Cabbage juice is a pH indicator. And what that means is it tests to see whether something is acidic or basic. Some acids would be like vinegar. Some bases would be like chlorine. And we want to test these things because they change color when they come in contact with the cabbage juice. So that's what you're going to be looking for. You're going to be looking for things reacting. Does it change color? Does it fizz? Does it do anything? If it does nothing, you can just write down no reaction. But we really want to see these changes. Now, so you can see what we're going to do a little better, we're going to come close up. So you can see what I'm doing, and you're just going to hear my voice off the camera. So give us a second, and we're going to do that really quickly for you. One last thing. This time, we have analyzed the powders for you beforehand. Powder 1 and powder 2 that we found at the crime scenes. We tell you what they do. Then we took some circumstantial evidence of the suspects to see if we can match it up to the powders that were found. When you're done testing your powders, you're going to use this sheet to see which 2 powders were found at the crime scene, and then you're going to use the scientific evidence matched with the circumstantial evidence to see which suspects left it behind. All right, everybody. So what I started off with on this one is I put inside the baby powder first. The reason why you want to do this is because the baby powder, you kind of have to spray it in, and you don't want to get into the other compartments. So if you have your powders in the other compartments, you spray the baby powder in afterwards, if it gets in the other ones, it might contaminate your evidence. So make sure you do that first, and then if you have any powder in chambers 1, 2, 3, go ahead and just scoop it out using a Q-tip, okay? Now, once you have your baby powder done, you want to put them into different piles. I've already done that as well. You're going to use the Q-tip as well to put them into different piles, and I'll show you how to do that in 1 second. So our number 1 powder, if you remember, is the baking soda. So it's really simple. All you're going to do is you're going to take a spoonful of baking soda and put it into compartment 1. So it doesn't have to be a lot either. You don't have to put too much in. But you want to make sure that you don't mix it with the other ones. You see why now also we want to do the different appearances? Because they look a lot different. Some of it looks more clumpy, some of it's more finely grained. Like I said, once you have it in there, you want to separate into 3 different piles. The reason why is because you're testing with 3 different chemical agents, and you don't want to mix those either. And then you want to carefully put them in 3 different piles. The reason why you want to do that is because you don't want to contaminate the different piles with the different agents that we're using to test them. Remember, we're going to do 3 different things. We're going to use cabbage juice, iodine, and vinegar. So get them into 3 different piles, and you're going to be set to go. Just kind of get them separated a little bit. So there you go. Just get them separated, nice big piles. Then you're going to do the same with all of them. You're going to use your cornstarch and everything. And again, notice the appearance of all of these powders is quite different. What I basically do is I try to get them in the corners. That's how I do my piles. So now we have them all separated. What we're going to do now is we're going to test. So we'll go ahead and start with the iodine solution. And you just pick one pile and you put a drop of iodine in it and see what happens. So starting with number 1, the baking soda, I put my drop of iodine in. Nothing really happened. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and see what we put in the cornstarch. Oh, look, it turned purple. Interesting little reaction. Go ahead and put in the chalk. Nothing really happens. And I'll put in the baby powder, and it gets kind of hard like a little ball. Which of these had a real chemical reaction? It was the cornstarch. Remember, iodine looks for starch in something that has starch in it, so it turned a different color. Okay, let's go ahead and do the vinegar next. Remember, different pile. We're going to go ahead and now do the vinegar. Remember, you want to do a different pile because this pile's already been contaminated, and we'll see what happens with the vinegar. Uh-oh. Look, it's causing it to fizz. All right, so baking soda fizz with vinegar. Oh, nothing happened with the cornstarch. Nothing happened with the chalk. And the baby powder, again, it gets hard. Mixes with the stuff inside there and just gets like a little hard ball. All right, so in this case, the vinegar, the reaction was really on the baking soda. Let's try our cabbage juice now. Cabbage juice you can make at home if you want to. You have to grind up some cabbage and whatnot, but we get this from a scientific store and we mix it ourselves, so you guys don't have to do that. Let's see what happens. Remember, we're looking for pH on this one. It's something basic, it's something acidic. Uh-oh. It's turning the baking soda blue. That's interesting. Didn't really do much with the cornstarch. Maybe turned a little bit red. Nothing with the chalk. And it's just similar to everything else. It just gets like a hard little ball when it comes to the baby powder. So with each of our indicators here, that's what we call these, we had a reaction with at least one powder. Now the powder that had the most reaction was the baking soda. The baking soda reacted to the vinegar and the cabbage juice. The iodine reacted with the cornstarch. So when you're doing your experiment, that's what you want to do. You want to write down these different reactions to see what happened and why. Once you write that down, go over the circumstantial evidence that we provided for you and see if you can match what you saw here with one of the suspects.